Have you ever wanted to create your own handicapping dream team? You can build your own superstar handicapping lineup using our Pick Your Team program at both WagerTalk and SportsMemo.com. Even more exciting, until Monday, September 12th at midnight, you can save 10% off Pick Your Team using coupon code PYT10 when checking out. Dave Koken, Marco D'Angelo, and Ralph Michaels, JM Sports, Joseph D'Amico, and the Rocket Man. The combinations are endless as you can choose up to 5 handicappers. You start saving once you choose any 2 handicappers of your choice, and you can pay as little as under $6 per handicapper. Who will make up your dream lineup? Go to Wager Talk or Sports Memo, click Pick Your Team, and personally hand select your handicapping roster. Don't forget that coupon code PYT will expire on September 12th, so get your 10% discount and put together your personalized dream team today.
Happy Labor Day and welcome on into Asian Baseball Today. I'm your host, Dan Alexander. We got a Monday edition, a $9 Monday coming your way here with my guys, Tokyo Brandon and Adam Trigger. We're excited to be here with you. Football season is right around the corner, meaning maybe we're going to get some little softer lines heading down the stretch here in KBO as they're heading into playoffs. So I got the experts with me. Brandon, I'll start with you. In our pre-show meeting, I found out you're the biggest Miami Dolphins fan I've ever met. This guy loves the Dolphins this year. Maybe something for us to get into towards the end of the season. But Brandon, how's it going, my guy? And what do you have up for $9 Monday?
Pretty good. Yeah, $9 Monday. I've got a 3-play Japanese baseball package up. The whole package is $9. And I will be giving away a 3% client play at the end of this show. And it is Labor Day. I was thinking, what can we sing for Labor Day? You know, stuff about work. And the first thing that popped into my head was working in the coal mine, going downtown. Devo. And I always wondered, why is Devo in the movie Heavy Metal? Because they were a punk band. But I got a request for a song, which I'll sing later in the show. That's about all going on with me. I am eyeing a play in the KBO that I haven't released yet, but I will probably release that after the show. And that's what I got going on right now. I'm on a 6-0 run right now, so things are going well.
Trig, what the hell is going on that Tokyo Brandon is getting song requests now? I mean, Brandon has groupies watching the show. This is absurd, man. Trig, how you doing on Labor Day, brother, and what do you have going for $9 Monday?
Well, Dan, you know, in the Northeast, Labor Day is usually the end of summer, and I would say summer ended yesterday for us because I had to throw the hat on here because I just got poured on. It went from like 95 over the weekend to like 60 and rainy, literally overnight. But listen, it's to me, it's just Monday. I've got a $9 Monday. I have Major League Baseball. It's up for $9. Football did not go well for me this past weekend, Dan. But baseball's been chugging right along. Another winner on Saturday, and I've got my Major League Baseball play for $9. And I'm going to give you all of the Korean baseball that I've got for tomorrow for free. So just stay tuned to the end of the show, and I'll give you all my thoughts as well as my 4% client Korean baseball best bet for free.
So you're getting a free 4%er so that you can pay for the $9 play. He's got going a 4%er in MLB that you can head on over to Trig's page and grab now. So, guys, since we talked last, SSG has continued letting go of that stranglehold they have. Now just 4 games up on LG. LG is on a run of runs, 7 straight wins. Kiwoom right behind him with 5 straight. KT still keeping it interesting, clinging on to that 4 spot. And then you still have Kia Tigers potentially with a little run in them. The best of the rest down there trying to claw their way back into the playoff picture. And Trig, that's where I want to start talking a little playoffs here with you at the top, because it's not too early. I mean, it's really right around the corner. And in less than a month's time, we're going to be talking KBO playoff. And you kind of wanted to get into how important just this playoff format is straight up as opposed to, the teams that are getting in. So how are you breaking that down, Trig?
Yeah, I mean it's worth bringing up right around this time each year. Korean baseball, one of the best playoff formats you'll find, Dan. It's essentially a ladder. So you're going to get 5 plays 4, 4 plays 3, essentially the winner continues to move on until they would eventually meet the 1 seed in the Korean series, or which is their version of the World Series. In each round, the series gets longer, so it starts with essentially a win and you're in situation, and then it's a 3-game series, a 5-game series, and then the Korean series is a 7-game series. But I guess the biggest takeaway here is the fact that the winner of the KBO regular season goes straight to the final. And if you look at the last 6 Korean series, the last 5 Korean KBO champs have been the regular season champs. So to get that bye to the final has proven very, very helpful, because KT Wiz last year, the NC Dinos in 2020, Doosan Bears in 2019, Kia Tigers in 2017, and Doosan again in 2016. They were the regular season champs, got the bye to the Korean series, and they won the Korean series. Why that's so important is the LG Twins are rolling right now, and they are just 4 games back of SSG, who's led essentially the entire season. So, there's a lot to play for there. It's not just like, okay, like the top 5 make the playoffs, but LG has, and SSG is going to probably come right down to the wire, and they play this week. So, a lot to play for there. It's a huge advantage getting that 1 seed in the playoffs. The other thing I wanted to point out is the fact that Kia, even though like they're in the 5th and final spot, they really need to, if they can hold off Lotte at this point, they're probably good. I have in my notes, NC and Samsung are both probably done. The reason I'm bringing that up right here, Dan, Kia and Lotte play the next 2 days, and if Kia can win these games, they're going to give themselves a really, really good chance to lock up that 5 spot. I would not be at all surprised to see them like throw the kitchen sink at Lotte the next 2 days and go like with an all hands on deck type scenario to try to win these 2 games, because you start to do the math and you start to look at the schedule. If Kia wins the next 2 days, it's going to be very, very difficult to catch them the rest of the way.
So taking a look at how those playoffs are shaking out, and Brandon wants to take a look at how some of these bullpens are shaking out. Brandon, we've learned that in Asian baseball, KBO especially, these bullpens can kind of be like the ultimate destruction of a rock-solid handicap. So you have some bullpen-specific numbers you wanted to get into for the folks. So the floor is yours, Brandon.
I guess that's why they call me the working man. Yeah, Geddy Lee, really tough to sing. So anyway, that was the request. So I did it. Okay, so yeah, let's throw up the graph here. I broke down the bullpens in the KBO here, and it's pretty obvious. I mean, if I ranked them, I have some kind of auxiliary stats and a kind of a complicated algorithm that I rank them by, but you can see my rank on the right column there. And it's probably no coincidence that LG, KT, and SSG are 1, 2, 3, and they're also 1, 2, 3 in the rankings. So, no surprise there. What some odd kind of anomalies here that I see are the team with the bullpen with the highest strikeout rate is the worst bullpen in the league, which is Lotte. And NC is kind of an anomaly there too, because they have a really high WHIP but a really low ERA, which is kind of strange. But toiling in mediocrity there, along with Kiwoom at 4. Kiwoom's always going to be 4, 5, or 6 in every category of every ranking. And then basically what we take out of this is the teams at the top of the standings have the best bullpens, and it's really no surprise. Going on past years, like Adam was talking about, KT, NC, the past champions generally have the best bullpens. Like last year, KT's bullpen was rock solid. The year before that, NC had a great bullpen, although NC was more of an offensive team than a defensive team. But last year, KT basically won the championship with their defense because their hitting was rather putrid at the end of the season. So these are things to consider in a cap. If you take a team like Samsung, very little hitting, bad bullpen. Samsung's definitely not a bet on team, and we've been bashing Kia for a couple weeks now. Their hitting's going down. Their bullpen is in the bottom half. A team like Doosan as well. Their hitting is way down, and their bullpen is ranked right in the middle. So, there's reasons why some teams are fading out, and there are reasons why some teams are catching up. And the bullpen is a huge reason for that. Very few starting pitchers in the KBO will go 7, 8 innings. They just rarely do. And so bullpens are even more important in the KBO than they are, and I would say even in Major League. So screenshot that, take it with you, and use that for your cap in the next few days, and I'll update it and bring it back soon.
So, Brandon, you were talking about those teams right there at the top. Well, it's a good segue because our featured game had to be the matchup that's going tomorrow morning because it's 1 versus 2. LG has just been rolling. SSG Landers, however, the favorite heading into tomorrow morning's game, 150 on the money line. Your over-under, your total is 8. Brandon, I'll throw it right back your way. Should be one heck of a baseball game, but do you see any actionable info from a betting perspective?
So this is very similar to last week's featured game where we had 2 of the top teams, and we had one team that the bookmakers really loved, and the other team is a really good team with a bad starting pitcher. So that's exactly the same scenario we have right now. Frankly speaking, SSG is number 1 in the ranking, but LG is actually a more complete team than SSG. Unfortunately, LG has the poorer starter today. And they've got Lee Min-ho going. Lee Min-ho has a career 1.38 whip. He's got not a great strikeout ratio, and he walks almost 3.5 guys a game. He's going against Kim Kwang-hyun, who we've talked about many times in the show. He was a St. Louis Cardinal. He's a major league caliber pitcher. He's probably the only Korean pitcher that should be treated like an import pitcher because he's that good. His whip so far this season, 1.09. His ERA is 1.85. He does have a propensity to have a bad game. But for Kim, a bad game means he gives up 3 runs in the first 5, which is even still considered a quality start. So his bad is different from everyone else's bad. So he's really good. But when I crunch these numbers, I have these teams neck and neck, absolutely neck and neck in this matchup. And Kim against LG, he gave up 3 earned runs and 4 earned runs in his 2 starts. So not performing that well against LG. And Lee against SSG has been great. He gave up 1 and 2 in his 2 starts. So, hey, when it's neck and neck, as I said on last week's show, I always tend to take the underdog and take the 1.5 runs. So that's what I would do here. This is not an official play for me, but I think SSG is getting way too much credit here. I would take LG either on the money line because their bullpen is that good, and frankly, in the last 7 days, SSG is not run producing. I think they're producing right around 3 runs a game, whereas LG is almost 5. So I think LG is getting way too slighted here. I would either take them plus or take them on the money line, take a long shot.
Looks like Tokyo Brandon leaning heavy towards the dog there as a lifelong SSG fan. I don't like hearing that, Brandon. But Trig, what do you think? How are you breaking this one down? You think similar to Brandon, maybe the odds maker slighting LG, who has just been rolling as of late? How are you breaking this one down?
Yeah, listen, this is my best bet. Twins plus 1.5. I'll give more analysis at the end of the show. And I may throw something else in at the end of the show, so you should still stick around. But I basically agree with everything Brandon said. And I actually have some follow-ups to support his great breakdown on the game. SSG on the road this year is hitting 248. The only team hitting worse than them on the road is Hanwha from an average standpoint. So they do most of their offensive damage at home, and they also rely heavily on the home run, which does not tend to work at Jamsil Baseball Stadium, where the Twins play, which is one of the biggest parks in the league. The other thing I want to point out here is Min-ho Lee, as Brandon said, he's definitely the lesser starter, But the reason I don't think that's a huge deal here is it's Tuesday, and they will come back with him on Sunday, pretty much no matter what. So in this game against SSG, they're going to go with Min-Ho Lee, who has a 2.25 ERA this season against SSG. If he's pitching well, they'll leave him. If he's not, they're going to go to their bullpen, which is completely rested. So if you look at, they had a day off, the league-wide off day yesterday. The day before, they won like 14-1. So all of their top bullpen guys are ready to go, and they have the number one bullpen in the league, 3.15 ERA. They've been leading the league in bullpen ERA all season. Kwang-Hyun Kim, who I have pinpointed as, at the beginning of the year, most of the year, I said, this guy's probably the best pitcher in the league. I look at him, and he looks like he's getting tired. Like, he's been far more hittable over the last month, and he also has not completed 6 innings in 3 of his last 4 starts. If you look at five of his last 6 starts, he's given up 2 or more runs. So, and his last start where he didn't give up an earned run, he walked 6 batters. Like, that looks like a guy that's starting to get tired. And in this league, we see this every year. There's only 10 teams. So once these teams start to see a guy a few times, like, they're still professional hitters. And it's still tough for a pitcher to just be completely dominant when teams get that kind of exposure to them. So I would agree with Brandon. I just think that this number is way off. And I also rank LG, I have them power rated number 1 now. I think that they're, like Brandon said, they're the most complete team. So I think there's a lot of value in backing the LG Twins here.
So both our experts looking towards LG in our featured game. You can hop in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on that matchup or anything else that you're liking in tomorrow morning's action or moving forward here. Guys, let's get into some series previews, some more week-long previews. And Trig, I'll start with you because you want to talk this KT Wiz team. Mentioned when we were going into our standings update, they're still holding on to that 4 spot pretty firmly. But you see on the screen, they got a 2-game set with Hanwha. They got a 2-game set with NC. How do you see this week going for the KT Wiz holding on to that 4 spot?
Yeah, so Dan, that's another thing I want to make very clear. It's not only big just to win the league. Like, the difference between 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 4 and 5 are all massive. So even though KT is in the 4th spot and Kia's probably not going to catch them, like, if they can get up to 3 or to 2, I mean, that is a huge, huge, huge difference because it's essentially a bye. It's essentially like for example, if you're the KT Wiz in the 4th spot, you need to beat the 5 seed once to advance. So Kia, as the 5 seed, would need to beat KT twice. However, if you can get up to 3rd, you avoid the 4-5 game completely, and you get to you have a best of 3 series with your pitching setup against the winner of the 4-5 series, who probably just burned their top starter to get to the next series. So it really is a huge advantage to at least finish 3rd. So I think KT, I really think this team could clean up this week, Dan. I think that they're going to really, they have every reason to try to run the table and try to get into the conversation for the 3rd seed because it is such an advantage against being 4th or 5th. They start the week with Hanwha, at home. Hanwha's still the worst team in the league. I mean, I pointed out coming out of the All-Star break, I thought that they made some improvements, but really, I think that consensus probably says Hanwha's still probably the 10th of 10 teams, and here they're going to have Youngpo Ko on the mound. I actually don't even hate that bet. I think it's minus 190 for tomorrow. It's a little pricey, but it's probably the right side from a matchup standpoint. I'm looking at the rest of their week, and tomorrow it'll be Sainbak again against Hanwha. Hanwha could run anyone they've got out there at this point. They're never going to have an advantage on the road at KT. Thursday, you're looking at So, and so it looks like you're going to get So and Despaigne against the NC Dinos, who I think are pretty much done. and that game will be in Suwon, where now NC just swept KT in Changwon a couple weeks ago, so a nice revenge spot there. And then over the weekend is a huge series for KT. They're at Kiwoom, and they will have West Benjamin, and then they're going to be able to come back with Ko over the weekend. So, I just think that this week shapes up nicely for KT. I still think Kiwoom's a little bit of a fade. So they could have 4 relatively, I don't want to call them easy, but winnable games where it would be the favorite at home. 2 huge games over the weekend. They've got an elite bullpen. I would not be at all surprised if this was like a 5-1 week for KT. They're going to be favored in some of them, especially the ones at home. But you might be able to make some money. I talked about it last week that they would be live in that Kia series, and they won both of them. So I think the KT Wiz, they're only a team I would bet at this point, guys. I'm not going to fade them, and hopefully you guys can cash some tickets with that right there.
High on the Wiz all week long, our man Adam Trigger. You can head on over to his page right now. He's got a 4%er loaded. He's also got a 4% free play he's giving your way in just a few moments. Tokyo Brandon with some big ticket plays loaded as well. $9 Monday. Check them out. Brandon, let's talk a little Japanese baseball. We got a Pacific League matchup. It's the team with the fewest wins in the league. The Nippon Ham Fighters, they're taking on one of my favorite teams because they keep on cashing those underdog tickets for me. The Orix Buffaloes. I doubt they're going to be underdogs tonight or in this series. Moving on, Brandon, how are you breaking this one down? Still a change of classes?
I'm taking what they're giving because I'm working for a living. Oh, any Huey Lewis in the news fans?
There she
is. Okay, I saw a tweet the other day. Someone showed Jimmy Connors, the tennis player from the '80s, and he had a Huey Lewis in the news shirt. That was hilarious. But anyway, Dan, you should be a Japanese baseball capper. Look at you going on there about the Orix Buffaloes. So we've got the Buffaloes taking on the Nippon Ham Fighters. I've said it many times on the show. Nippon Ham Fighters, they've been out of it for a long time, but they are scrappy. They're one of those teams that they're kind of like Hama, actually. They're bad pitching. They have good starting pitching, so they're kind of a mix between Hama and Miami Marlins, kind of, if you want to put it in that perspective. They're scrappy. They can hit a few, and they do have a decent starting rotation, but they're just a bad altogether team. Their coach, Tsuyoshi Shinjo, used to play for the Mets, used to play for the San Francisco Giants in the World Series. He is just throwing stuff in the pot to see what he can cook, to see what it tastes like. Where the Orix Buffaloes right now are in second place in the Pacific Division. They're scrapping for a playoff position here. And they have a guy named Yamaoka on the mound tonight, and I really like Yamaoka. He has a 0.62 ERA. Against the Nippon Ham, 0.49 ERA against the Nippon Ham Fighters in 6 starts. Talk about predictability. So when we're doing capping, what we want to do is look at what's the most predictable thing. And that's pretty predictable. Not only that, but the Buffaloes have better hitting, and they're just an all-around better team. So, as opposed to KBO, Japan, they're playing 3-game series still. And like I said last week about the DNA Bettors, when they were going against the Chunichi Dragons, I said probably could be a sweep. It's pretty much similar situation here because we got the second place team against the worst team, and I'm looking for a possible sweep here. So if you see any lines for the Orix Buffaloes that are decent, I would not lay a -1.5 in this series, though, because these two teams combine for only 5.7 runs per game when they play each other. It's not enough runs to lay a 1.5. But if you see any decent lines for Orix, I would jump on it. And if you see any Orix team totals, maybe 2.5, I might jump on that as well in this series. Coincidentally, this game tonight is going to be my best bet at the end of the show.
Well, perfect, because that's where we're rolling into, Brandon. I appreciate the compliment. I'm going to leave the Asian baseball handicapping to you guys. Just like Brandon, you should probably leave the NFL handicapping to the other guys as well. So before we went on air, before we get into best bets, I got to say, Tokyo Brandon thinks that the Miami Dolphins are could have or are gonna, I don't know, you can clarify, gonna be better than the Philadelphia Eagles. Brandon will have to answer for that here, and you can hop in the comments and let us know what you think about that. I mean, I'm not down on the Dolphins. I just think it's a crazy statement. It's a crazy statement there. So, Brandon, I will say, All Sports Profit up 220% the last 365 days. So while I poke some fun, the guy is number one at Wager Talk across multiple different sports. So, Brandon, I'll throw it your way. You kind of teased your best bet there, but any rebuttal on this Dolphins love, and what do you got for the folks?
Yeah, I'm number one, but none of those plays were NFL. So let's put that out there. And yeah, I do think the Dolphins are better than the Eagles. But then again, I'm not an NFL capper. So I do like to better than Jalen Hurts.
Ooh,
I'll just put that out there. Adam, what do you think?
Listen, I don't know what I think. The Dolphins have a chance to be better than the Eagles this year too. I don't know why is everyone so in love with the Eagles? That I don't understand.
I don't know.
Uniforms are cool. I don't know. They got the nice new black helmets going. They love all the off-season moves. I don't know.
I get it. Like they're good. They could, okay. Like I don't hate the Dolphins this year. I think the Dolphins will outdo expectations. That's what I think for the Dolphins.
If you want to hear more,
Joe Ranieri is in big trouble.
Well, if you want to hear more, speaking of Joe Ranieri, he's on Bet On It. It premieres every Wednesday here on the Wager Talk channel. If you never want to miss an episode, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll leave our football takes to the back ends of these shows. If you want the hot football takes that are cashing tickets all season long, check out Bet On It, check out Wager Talk today, and, of course, our college football show as well. So, Brandon, best bet time. Remind people what you have up tonight and what you're rocking with for your best bet, the free play for the folks.
Yeah, so I got a 3-play package in Japanese baseball. I have not put out my KBO yet, but I'm going to after this show, and one of them is a possible 5% play. After bouncing the analysis back and forth and giving it consideration, I might be releasing a 5% play for $9 right after this show. Best bet for the show. I keep it very short and sweet because I pretty much broke it down already. But yeah, Yamaoka for the Orix Buffaloes tonight. 0.49 ERA against the Nippon Ham Fighters in 6 starts. That's crazy. I mean, Nippon Ham Fighters are starting Uwazawa. He's pretty good. He has a 1.35 ERA against the Buffaloes, but just too much here. The Buffaloes have the better bullpen. They're in better form, better hitting, better starter, better rotation, better everything. The only thing that the Nippon Ham Fighters have going for them is they're playing at home, but even then, they're not quite as good as the Buffaloes are on the road. So I'm on the Buffaloes on the money line here. I couldn't believe this line. I think it was minus 120 or minus 115. That was absolutely crazy. But it should be more like a minus 180 or something. It should be like one of those KT lines today is what it should be, but it's not. So, yeah, I'm on the Buffaloes tonight on the money line.
Riding the Orix Buffaloes money line in NPB action going tomorrow morning. Trig, no, you're excited about the 4% play you got up. People can grab for just $9. If people are wondering how you've been doing on the diamond in the MLB, just around 58%, respectable 73 and 53. So ride with Trig, grab his all access or grab his $9 play today. You alluded to it earlier, my guy. What do you got for the best bets, and what bullet points do you have to back it up?
Yeah, so first, a little bonus. I love KT Wiz in their game tomorrow. I just didn't love the price, and it moved a little bit. It was up near minus 190 before the show, and I'm not going to give out a minus 190 best bet. So, but if you have something if you're looking for like a parlay leg or something like that, or you're just looking for another bet and you don't mind the juice, KT minus 190 at home against Hanwha is like not a bad bet. I would not put you off making that bet. With that being said, I have one client play for Tuesday morning. It's a 4% best bet, and that play is the LG Twins plus 1.5, which means Tokyo Brandon and I basically right on the same page here. I don't even think, listen, there's some recency bias maybe, with LG winning 7 in a row. But I really do think that this is the best team in the KBO right now. And it's not just because of their 7-game winning streak. I would say since about the midway point, when they put Rebel Garcia into the lineup, they've basically been the top team. And I've got some numbers to back that up. Hitting 274 team batting average. That's number 1 in the league. Their bullpen has a 3.15 ERA. That's number 1 in the league. They score 5.25 runs per game. Number 1 in the league. 9.43 hits per game. Number 1 in the league. And now their 102 home runs are now tied with SSG for number 1 in the league. And they will very likely pass SSG in that category as well, which is even more impressive considering they play at Jamsil Baseball Stadium, which is probably the biggest park in the league and the hardest to hit a ball out of. So LG Twins, I referenced SSG on the road, hitting 248. It's 9th in the 10-team league. The only team only team with a worse batting average on the road is the Hanwha Eagles. Minho Lee, as long as I put this in my free pit play section earlier, as long as he doesn't get killed, LG should be fine here. Kwang-Hyun Kim, he's excellent, but he probably doesn't go more than 6 innings, and LG definitely has the bullpen advantage. If you're, with all those things considered, you're going to give me the free run. I gave this out. It was minus 115. I think before the time we got on the show, it was minus 120. That's a great bet. So LG Twins, plus 1.5. They're playing great baseball, and it's very meaningful ball as they try to get to the top spot. I think they win this game, but I'll take the free run, and that's a 4% play.
And if I
the
can
LG Twins, yeah, go ahead, Brandon.
Let me add to that. Lee Min-ho, he's faced SSG 2 times, and he has not gotten killed. He's actually held him quite well, so I completely agree with Adam.
And Brandon,
not that he needs my validation, but
no, but one more point to make to what he just said too. They have all their pitchers rested. They're not going to let him get killed here. That's a really important thing that I talked about earlier. They're not going to let him get killed because they have pitching for days right now. So they're going to, if he's struggling, they're going to get him right out of there, and they're going to let him pitch on Sunday. They're not going to they don't need innings from him here. So they're not going to leave him out there to dry. They're going to get him right out. They're going to go to their bullpen where all their arms are fresh, and they'll come back with him on Sunday, which is another reason that the Twins are a little undervalued.
You're muted. Dan. Muted. Dan.
Oh my God. If it's not the internet, it's the muting of the mic. And all I was saying was they won me over. I know what I'm doing. I'm placing a money line bet. I'm placing a run line bet. And then I'm also going to check out those $9 plays my guys have loaded for tonight. So that's going to do it for us. I'm Dan Alexander. Huge thanks for tuning in. For my guys, Adam Trigger, and for Tug of Iloa, Tokyo Brandon. We're going to see you next week, or we're going to see you Thursday here on Asian Baseball Today. Until then, subscribe, grab these guys' best bets, and we'll see you Thursday on Asian Baseball Today.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com, when all daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including 5% best bets, normally priced at $35. As an added bonus, any picks packages loaded early for Overnight Tuesday or action during the week will also be priced at $9 until midnight on Monday. So make sure to take advantage of getting these $25 and $35 picks for only $9 before the clock strikes 12 and they return to regular price.